Real good boys know that they have to be good to the planet, which is why we drink Fiji water. Since 2022, Fiji water's 330 milliliter and 500 milliliter bottles have been produced with 100% recycled plastic.
That's hot.
You know what's even hotter? The aquifer Fiji water originates from is a sustainable source and will continue to replenish as the rain and water cycles persist in the islands of Fiji.
You're right. That is hotter.
Visit your local retailer to pick up some Fiji water today and give yourself a Good Boy Gold Star for helping protect our planet. After all, Fiji water is Earth's finest water. Good boys! Good boys! Welcome back to Good Boys.
Welcome back. We have Bobbi Salvör Menuez here with us today.
It's true, I'm here.
Hi, Bobbi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really good. I feel great.
You look fantastic. So, welcome to Good Boys. On Good Boys, we start the podcast by talking about how we've been a good boy this week. Do you want to kick off, Motti?
I would love to, even though I quite literally have not. Actually, I could. Usually, I'm good at thinking about it.
Right.
I have a good one this week. So next week, my girlfriend and I are going to Europe. We're going on a little trip.
Great.
It's like our first. We've gone on like little domestic vacations, but it's like our first big trip together. And she was previously married, and I remember she would complain that her ex-husband never wanted to do like any of like the help planning of the stuff, but then he was the first to complain if it wasn't whatever. Anyway, so I have made several dinner reservations in the multiple countries that we'll be going to.
Wow.
Including one that's like at the top of it's like the highest point with a view in Switzerland that like in this specific city in Switzerland. And I made reservations, and I made like an Amsterdam canal cruise reservation and like set it up and put like a little itinerary together because right. Well, so we've started the joint itinerary, but like I've added it and I'm like booked 7:30, like paid for, check mark, like whatever.
Impressive.
And she really appreciated that, and I think that is my good boy of the week.
That's a very good boy.
Which I'm happy to do. Like that is the task.
What countries are you going to?
So we're flying into Amsterdam and spending a couple days there, and then we're spending one day in Bruges. Specifically only they say you should spend a day in Bruges, but because we both love the movie In Bruges, and then
first thing that comes to mind when you say Bruges, I'm like, it's a movie. It's a set for a movie.
And we tried to get dinner reservations at the restaurant that they go to, but it's closed on Mondays, which is when we're going to be there. Anyway, and then we go, my sister lives in Stuttgart, Germany, because her husband's in the army, my brother-in-law, and she's got 4 kids there that I'm super close with, and I haven't seen them since Christmas.
Yeah.
And then from there we go to Interlaken, Switzerland, which it is like in between 2 lakes. So it's the city that sits between 2 lakes, and there's mountains, and it's beautiful. And then we're training all of this. We just got like a Eurail pass, and then we'll be going to Paris and fly out of Paris.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Just missed the Olympics. I'm like, it might be a shit show there.
It could be.
Which I'm fine with.
The only thing I'm hearing with this whole thing is that Motti's going to be off work, which is stressful for me.
Oh no!
For 10 whole days. But anyway.
It's only really 6 business days.
It's not that long.
No, because I did it
God.
over 2 weekends. You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Loving.
Very thoughtful.
And Bobbi,
Double good boy.
Double good boy. Bobbi, how have you been a good boy this week? I should also say I should intro you and all your beautiful accolades.
Oh, thank you.
You know, so I'm gonna try. Okay, so
I
Bobbi, you are a creative director, an actor.
Yes.
I was gonna say activist. Do you identify as an activist?
I do. I'm involved in actions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I don't professionalize as an activist, but I am involved with things. I think sometimes also just when you're like a queer person who is vocal about your opinions, that makes you an activist in a way that I feel somewhat ambivalent about.
Totally.
That like positioning.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can say I'm
care
an
about
activist.
stuff.
I think
You
that's
care
fair.
about
I
I'll
think
let
that's
other
fair.
people say that, but
Great.
I don't like put that on my bio.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Well, also, and not just like a trans or queer activist is also the thing.
There's other things I talk about.
Exactly.
Other than
because
being queer.
What you're describing is like when you're like, oh, you're a trans activist. And some people are like, well, no, I mean, like, I kind of am just.
You're like, I'm a trans person that cares about stuff.
Yeah, who like wants to be alive.
Yeah. Controversial.
You're so right.
Crazy, whoa, activist. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna strike the activist.
I thought we landed on.
You don't
I
have
thought.
Okay.
Thought we landed on. Yeah.
Okay, general activist of all the things that we care about. Something like this. Okay, and model.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, yeah. Well, you've modeled a bunch, right?
Yeah, I used to do it a lot more. So I feel like a retired model, but I wouldn't mind modeling more because money's great. So we'll put that on there too.
Okay, great. Let's put that on there. Director?
I have directed. It's funny because my career is extremely multi-hyphenate, and I have mixed feelings about that. So hearing it all out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. I don't know. I had this thing recently where I was like, I want to just say I'm an actor and like try and embrace that. But I do all these other things.
Yeah.
Like I really do all these other things.
But you do all these other things very well.
Thank
you know?
you. That's very nice.
And I think that I think it's fantastic that you do all these things. You should embrace them.
Thanks.
You know?
It just like gets long. The list gets long.
There's nothing wrong with a long resume.
Okay.
I think that's great.
Totally.
And we've had this problem with, we've only had 2 other guests so far. We had Jess Tom on and Rivka Reyes, and it's the same thing where you're like, okay, like you've done this, like, and model is always the common.
Model,
we only have models.
We've only had models. So.
It's like a models kind of podcast. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, did I miss anything?
Oh, I also have a queer food art collective that I'm a part of called Spiral Theory Test Kitchen.
Yes.
That's cool.
That's also a thing I do.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
I lumped that in creative director and I shouldn't have. What would you?
Yeah, I would call that, just being like an artist.
Great.
Which is such like a great catch-all for a lot of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, can you explain what that is for me?
It's honestly so hard to explain.
Okay, never mind. Don't
basically, it's just like me and my partner and our collaborator, Precious Okoyemon, and we work with food as like a psychosexual material.
Okay, cool.
And that can include things that are like a dinner, but also it's like, we make like edible ball gags and like,
cool.
Have like installations and and write recipes that are also like creative essay / poems, and it gets so cool, freaky and confusing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So have you been a good boy this week?
How have I been a good boy this week? I'm gonna say this, even though technically it was a little over a week ago. I got married, which I think is very classically good boy behavior.
Yes.
But then the thing that happened within this week, which extended that good boy energy, was cleaning up after the wedding, which was like mostly me and my now husband.
Amazing.
But like a lot. I like hand washed every single dish for like a dinner for almost 200 people.
Wow.
So okay. And you won't see that in the Vogue article, but but no, getting married was very good boy.
Yes. Are you
Thank you.
a husband, partner, wife? Like, what are you using a title?
We're husbands.
Your husbands.
Yeah,
okay.
we're husbands.
Love that.
I think
that's so
sexy.
hot.
Yeah,
it
is sexy.
My look was very like, I feel from a normative standpoint would be considered more bridal energy, but mostly just because I'm like, if we're gonna do a wedding, like let's lean into the camp. Let's lean into like what is the theme of a wedding.
Yeah.
Like what is, I love a little frilly sissy moment for myself.
Love that.
And we had a lot of fun.
It looked amazing.
We had a lot of fun.
It looked amazing.
I know, you guys should have come.
I know.
It was like
I was invited.
Was
I just want to
upstate.
let the crew know that I was invited.
I wasn't.
You're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
It was upstate New York.
Yeah, it was just at a friend's property who has like a good amount of acreage, so it was like
cool.
We could freak out. And,
yeah.
I loved it. I saw that you ran. This was like an iconic moment that you ran to the altar.
I did. Well, the aisle was technically really long because it was like this field, and we had our good friend Tourmaline officiate, who is an amazing person who I love so much. And when we were talking about the ceremony, because she really held her hand through it, I was like, oh, I didn't know the officiator did anything other than the thing on the day. And she was like, no, we're going to meet like once a week for a month and like talk about it and like figure it out. Like, what is the ceremony? Like, how are you like going to queer the things in the way that feel right for you or not? And I just like early on was like, I just have a feeling I'm going to want to run down the aisle. And they were like, really? Okay. And I was like,
cool.
I'm not going to like commit myself to that now, but I just have a feeling that's what I'm going to want to do. And on the day I was like, this is exactly what I need to do with like the adrenaline in me. And it felt so good.
It was the most beautiful video I've ever seen. It was incredible. And you're like billowing.
Yeah, the train
out. It was so good.
What was the arrival?
The arrival to.
So once you're done running, once you arrive at the altar, like are you jumping in? Did you jump into your husband's arms, or like did you like slide into home base? I'm just trying to think if you're running, did you just like run and then stop?
Well, someone on TikTok was like, I was hoping this would end with a slip and slide, which I think would have been a really good idea.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did the altar was a dock floating on a pond. So it was like, I did have to kind of slow my roll and like hop on the moving thing. And
cool.
Yeah. I just was like, I don't know what my arrival was. I was there
cool.
and then excited.
Okay, cool.
How did your partner approach the aisle?
He walked in like a normal way.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Right?
But the contrast was...
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
That's cool. I love weddings.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm getting married, I think, not next year, but the year after, maybe.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I keep pushing it because the planning, I mean, maybe you can tell me, but then...
If you ever want to talk shop, we mostly planned it ourselves, and we had one friend come on who was a producer and then a food coordinator, and that was like our team.
Wow. I love that it's like I love that it's a producer, like for artists.
Yeah,
it's like it's not a wedding planner, it's a producer.
It's a producer. I'm like, we did all the wedding planning stuff.
Yeah,
ourselves. Because yeah. But anyways, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we might do it in Italy if you're up for a travel.
Yes.
Yeah, love.
Yeah. I have an Italy wedding in 2 years, so can you plan it so that it's around the same time so I don't have to go twice?
Yes, I can.
2 years is a good amount of time away,
right?
To plan.
Yeah. I think so.
We set the date, I think, like 2 years out.
It's also like so expensive, you know?
Well, it depends how you do it.
Yeah. And much cheaper if you're going to do it outside of the States.
Well, that was the plan. Also, because we have so many family members in the UK, it feels like a shorter trip.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I'm not taking into account all my US friends, sorry, but
that's okay.
I think you all can handle it.
I'll give you the link to Rachel's villa.
Kinda, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People will figure it out.
People figure it out. Yeah. So, well, that's amazing. You're a married man.
True story.
Do you feel different?
I do feel different. It's hard to like put into words the feeling, but I definitely feel like something has changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very like transformative, like we really went for it with the wedding. We were like, we're not holding back. We're going to be totally delusional and like try and make something like beyond our wildest dreams, even though we have like very little money for it.
It's awesome.
And yeah, I mean, I think also just like having all your people like witness you in that way. And I don't know. I'm like, oh, I really see why people do it. Yeah. I don't know. There's nothing like it, really.
Mm-hmm. Did you always want to be married growing up?
Not necessarily. I didn't really think it was something I cared that much about. But then I was the first to propose. So my mind was changed.
Yeah.
And
feeling overcome with romance and love.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
How are you a good boy?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. How was I a good boy? You know what? This is how I was a good boy. I actually went out, and you know this. I went out this weekend. I don't go out at all, you know? I don't drink, and I'm boring, and I'm in bed by 10 p.m. most nights. And I went out to see Motti for a few drinks, and then I continued. We got food, and then I went to Cubbyhole.
Oh, nice.
I know, which is wild for me.
How was that?
It wasn't that fun.
How was it for you? Because I know how you feel about being in like very sapphic spaces.
Yeah, well, we talk about this a little bit, but I feel like every time since I've had top surgery and I'm transitioning, and then every time I go out, any space I'm in, I'm like, should I be here? across the board. Like, I feel like we went to a event at Pride that was super, super sapphic. And I was there with another trans guy, and he was like, dude, like, we should not be in this space.
We're cramping the vibe.
Exactly. And I was like, oh shit. And I hadn't thought about it since then. He like put this into my mind, and then I'm like in gay male spaces, and I feel a bit out of sorts. So anyway, I'm still trying to find my groove. Cubbyhole actually, from that perspective, felt quite diverse.
I've never been, admittedly.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like, I don't know what it's like
That
there.
shocks me. Aren't you from New York?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why I've never been there, but
Wow.
I was hoping you were going to say that you were at Gush.
Oh, I know. I did see it. Did you go?
I did go.
Oh, man. How was it?
It's always good. I love Gush. I think it's, I also don't drink, go to bed early, like love to not go out.
Right.
But I always love Gush.
What is the vibe of it?
It's very sexy.
I'm in.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's very sexy. It's sapphic, but it's like feels very inclusive.
Where is it?
What?
Where is it?
It changes where it is.
Oh, okay. It's when. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there's always dancers like after like around like 2 a.m. There's like
Nice.
lap dances.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
Cool stuff.
Stuff like that makes me feel so excited and like I want to be there. And then when it's happening, I'm so panicked.
Well, you don't have to get a lap dance if you don't want to.
You do. You must.
Maybe you have to.
I do. So I think that's how I was a good boy. I actually like got out and had a good time, you know, and socialized. I think it's important. I'm trying to do that more this year and not be such a homebody, you know? Yeah.
Good on you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good job. Good
Thanks,
boy.
guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Also, that I can't believe you were like, I got married. And I'm like, I went to Cubbyhole.
Different weeks.
Different week, different whatever. We're trying to
You got
best.
me on a good week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. What's next?
Wow. Good boys in the news.
Good boys in the news. Okay, good. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give you one of these.
Okay.
Self-explanatory. This is Good Boys in the News where we sorry, hold on. Okay, so this is Good Boys in the News where we read out a headline without reading the actual article. We're sorry.
Like good boys do.
Like good boys do. And then we decide whether the subject of the article is a good boy or a bad boy.
Of course, understanding that on this podcast, boy is very, and also good is very expansive definition.
Mutable terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Good is expansive.
I'm just like, because it's like, sometimes it's like good as in like they're doing a good thing. And sometimes I'm like, I kind of like that. So it's good to me. Like, it's good.
Yeah,
to
it's not
me.
like Christian good.
Yes.
You're so right. You're so right.
We should have a Christian episode though.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, great. Okay, here we go. So headline 1. Lots of male politicians are wearing makeup now. Not all of them are pulling it off.
Good boys.
Yeah.
Good boys.
Yeah. I have opinions.
Okay, go.
I don't know. Do you have
I do too, but you first.
Okay. So we discussed this, I think it was on the last podcast where, you know, like Matt Gaetz has this makeup on and he's gotten this work done and stuff. And people like to like have a getcha moment of like, oh, you don't like drag queens, but like, look at all your gender affirming stuff. And I don't like going after politicians for that because I think you get into like body shaming and how it applies to the broader mass of people who have had this work done, whatever. I think there's better ways to get politicians than being like, your concealer looks bad and you've got a brow lift. I think, am I crazy to think male politicians have always worn makeup? You go on live TV, you're getting a light concealer, you're getting some kind of makeup. I don't think it's new that men are wearing makeup on television. So I don't understand. I should read the article to see what they're talking about it.
No. Don't bother.
But I think that in terms of if we're looking at the overall liberation of all people, I think everyone deserves to wear bad makeup and wear makeup poorly. So I think it's good boys because I think it's funny. I don't know. I there's something about it that I love, even though I'm sure I hate most of these politicians. I hate most politicians, but I think there's something fun about them wearing makeup poorly.
With that, Bobby?
Yeah, I think makeup is really fun.
Yeah.
And there's something very endearing about people having bad makeup, wearing bad makeup in public. Mm-hmm. I do think that politicians, we should be able to come for them about anything, but personally, but at the same time, I do think coming for anyone in the public for how they look is like not, it's a low blow and it's like not really towards the liberatory.
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. I think we should make fun of politicians all the time. I think my thing with the like being like, oh, drag, whatever, to me, it's like pointing, and I said this the last time, it's like pointing at like a very angry homophobic man and being like, that's because you're closeted. And it's like, what, how is that helping?
Like, is that helpful?
Yeah. Is that helpful? Is this going to make this person more homophobic? Like, I don't think someone's going to I don't think Matt Gaetz is going to change how he feels about drag performers and trans people if we keep calling him a drag queen. Right. I think it's only going to get worse.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fuel to the fire.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's
I agree with you that men have always worn makeup, but it does seem to be a step higher than that. I think that everyone seems to be getting facelifts and fillers and Botox and all these things. And that, for me, I had this thought the other day that I was like, at what point is that gender affirming versus just trying to fit in with some sort of societal norm of perfection? Mm-hmm. You know?
Well, it's funny because I was literally thinking about this on the way to the train for some reason this morning, and I think it all is. I mean, the thing is, gender is so elusive. What it even is. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's totally fine.
Whatever. Gender's so elusive. What it even is, right? In my experience of it, but I think changing your body at all in any way can be gender affirming, even if it's like not to a linear end. You know, it's like, oh, like, you know, getting like elf ear surgery. Maybe that's gender affirming for someone, you know, like it's not necessarily like in line with like a binary assessment of, and this thing of like, you know, people getting so much work done to like be some perfect ideal. But that is part of what culture is saying gender is. Yeah. And so
totally,
there's always going to be like subculture saying that gender can be something else. But
yeah,
it does seem hard to escape body modification being somehow gender affirming.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, whether you're cis or trans. And I think it's kind of cool to connect what cis people do for themselves that is gender affirming to what trans people do that is gender affirming, because it helps connect those dots. Because it's like, oh, when you come for legislation that is about gender affirming care, it's like, you know, those statistics that I obviously don't remember perfectly about how like most like youth who get gender affirming care are cis youth.
Yeah.
Actually. Like gender affirming surgeries are mostly performed on cisgendered youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that.
Like,
but what is that?
Hello.
Can you explain that to me? Like I read that,
but probably has to do with like a lot of like chest surgeries for like, you know, like cis
even
girls.
Rhinoplasties.
Yeah, rhinoplasty,
Yeah.
basically FFS.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what else, but like
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, like boys who want less titties. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah,
Like,
guys
You're
who
so
have
right.
I always say it wrong. Gynecomastia, I think is what
Yeah,
it's called,
maybe.
when you have like breast tissue when you're
Totally. We have a bunch of customers actually that buy blinders for this reason exactly.
Yeah.
That are not.
There's a Grey's Anatomy
transgender.
episode
Okay.
where
Very
a
important.
teenage boy gets you know, the tissue taken off his chest, but there was a lot of conversation with his parents about maybe keeping it, and the only reason that he wanted to, of course this is a TV show, but the only reason he was wanting to get rid of it was because of like his peers at school were being mean to him.
Totally.
And when he actually sat down with like, do I actually want to do this, he was kind of like, not really.
I love that. Look at that, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, I love Grey's
So
Anatomy.
cute. Yeah. I know that we're on Boys in the News, but while we're on this subject, because I'm interested, Bobbi, talk to me about your gender.
my gender.
Just generally.
Well, recently I've been thinking again about this term that a friend of mine, I think, maybe invented, because I've never heard anyone else use it, which is gender agnostic, which, you know, they had described. Well, this was a friend who previously was identifying as a trans woman and then was coming into a non-binary identity and from that place, and was talking about this in a way that I heard kind of like that gender is this kind of unknowable thing, but I have a sense of it. You know, I have a sense that this might be true for me, or this might align for me, and I'm going to like move with that faith without maybe necessarily fully understanding it. And I think for me, as someone who doesn't identify in a super binary way, but also identifies as a good boy or whatever, that resonates for me. You know, it's like there's a laundry list of like identification language I can probably relate to. But yeah, I mean, I'm a trans person. I love being a transsexual. For me, that means that I've like done like medical intervention around my gender. I don't think that's necessary for people, but it's something that's been really cool for me.
Yeah.
What else should I say about my gender?
I guess maybe how masculinity shows up for you, or how you feel about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like masculinity has shown up in really different ways throughout my life. So before I came out and was connected to my trans identity and was living in the world like kind of like female socialized, whatever, like pre-transition, like living as a girl, there were things that I did that were gender affirming for me. Like I had terrible hygiene. I had like absolutely disgusting. Like my first apartment I lived in with my best friend, we never cleaned the apartment once.
On purpose?
Just, I don't know. I was like a hoarder. We got bed bugs. Like I never cleaned anything. Wow. Like it was disgusting. I don't know. I smelled bad. Like I always really liked burping. That's like, I once won a talent show burping the alphabet. Like there were just like things about being like, there's also this like kind of like niche video piece made by these teenagers called like Dirty Girls, which I really related to, and like this thing of like filth in relation to that, or like also my relationship to like eating food, having a really big appetite, being able to like out eat like the biggest dude at the table and being like, oh, you're eating that much, I'm gonna eat twice as much. Like I just had weird stuff that like felt really affirming, and that I think was associated with masculinity. Also like in my early 20s, making money modeling, like I really liked to be kind of like a daddy with my money, and like people I dated, I would like be like, let me treat you, let me take care of you, baby, like whatever. Like so that was like a way that it showed up then, and now like those things are less important to me. Like I'm like, now I take a shower twice a day. I'm like, I used to be lucky if I took one once a week. Like
wow.
But now I'm like, I love taking a shower. It feels so good. It's awesome to be clean and wear deodorant. I don't know. I just
do you think that that's just because you found other ways to affirm within yourself your gender expansiveness?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think also just like growing up, like having different values, like being like, oh, like hygiene is part of how I take care of myself. Like, hello, like I don't know, just like different things. I also had really young parents, and like kind of was like a feral child. Like that was very much a part of my identity on my own, like more like personal spiritual healing. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like I tried testosterone before I even cut my hair. You know, a friend was like, if you want to try it. And I don't know. Once I started to kind of like enter into like exploring the question of like, am I a trans person? You know, I mean, literally like it was probably 2015 or 16 when I Googled, am I transgender? And then my cis boyfriend at the time opened the computer, saw that, was like, what's this? And I was like, I was just doing some research. And like
for myself.
You know, and I had a lot of trans friends at the time, and like most of my closest friends were like queer and trans, but then somehow I just was like dating this like nice guy who would sometimes wear my underwear, and I liked it. Like whatever, you know, like like I always was attracted to people who seemed to have a fraught relationship to their gender. And then I realized that was also true for me.
Makes sense.
And and then I don't know, later on I was like in a primary relationship with someone who was like, we had a very intense relationship where we were both like kind of like smashed into each other, and we're like digging into all of our trauma and everything, and a lot of like first time trying things, blah, blah, blah. And then like in that relationship, we both got new names. We both like tried testosterone for the first time. We just like went for it. And then, I don't know. I mean, I like took a formal break from like all things visible. Like, so I took a like formal break. I told my team like, I want to like take a break from modeling. I want to take a break from auditioning. Like I need to like not be looked at. I like became a substitute teacher at a private school and like worked as a barista and like shaved my head and just tried stuff out. And then, And then a couple years ago I got top surgery, which I loved, and I'm really excited. My friend's getting top surgery tomorrow, and I'm gonna take care of them.
So exciting.
I love taking care of people getting top surgery. I think it's
cool.
So fun, weirdly.
Yeah.
And then I've been on and off T and just like been feeling it out. And how do I express my masculinity? I don't know. It depends. Like sometimes I dress just like a teenage boy, and sometimes like I am doing something much more like femme coded or something.
I really, really resonate with the idea that before you really understood when you were at the beginning of your journey, you were like creating these like masculine moments through these other forms. And I've always known that about myself. Like I did the same daddy thing. Like as soon as I got a bit of money, I was like, drinks on me for everybody. Which I feel like, and I used to be and I used to feel actually uncomfortable if anyone paid for me for anything. It felt like this like challenge of my masculine self, you know. And then the more I've had top surgery, I've like come through this journey, and I'm like way more comfortable to be honest, embrace more like feminine sides of myself, which actually I'm realizing are quite expansive, my feminine sides, but I'm only just exploring them now and getting comfortable with them. That's interesting. Like the intersection of visual transition and like internal behaviors of gender, you know.
Totally. It's such a dance too, because it's like when one thing comes in that's super affirming, then it's like some other thing's just not as important anymore. Like I've just now that I've had top surgery and I've done these different things, like I'm like kind of growing my hair out. I'm like, I could see, you know, I once was on this like during the pandemic, I was on this Zoom trans meditation course where there was like a guided meditation of like seeing your future self. And this is very revealing, but we were on a tandem bike, me and my future self. I don't know why, but and they had a flat chest and a really long hair. Oh. And I hadn't had top surgery at the time, but after that meditation, I was like, I'm calling the surgeon. I'm like, I knew I'd wanted it for a long time, but I've been putting it off. And then I like saw it visually and was like, oh, okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
Go. Yeah. And then I was like, I guess one day maybe I'll have long hair again. It's coming. Just be like a long-haired dude.
Yes. I love that.
I love that.
I had something kind of similar. I have so many. This podcast episode will be like 3 hours long, but sometimes I feel quick notes. Sometimes I feel really jealous and sad and a little invalid of myself as a trans person because I had literally no fucking idea for most of my life until a couple of years ago, and so I didn't have moments of like, this behavior was probably, I mean, maybe really, really, really deep down and in small ways. I had like these things that were like, probably should have made me realize earlier. I think as a really young kid, I was non-binary. And then I was such a cis girl. And I used the term like I was previously cis because it's not that I was closeted. I had no fucking idea. I lived my whole life until 22 years old. Like I am a cis woman. Like this is who I am, like whatever there was anyway. And so I always think it's like really fun and interesting, like how, I don't know, sometimes I feel like am I really trans? And I'm like, yeah, obviously you're like really trans. You're like fully a trans person. And then a couple years ago, before I moved back, because I'm from New York and I was living in North Carolina, and before I came back, I had this like a call with a psychic that my friend introduced me to, and it was before I was like gonna have top surgery or anything. It would have been a few years, and she told me I was gonna move back to New York. I was gonna find someone who, like, the person that I end up with will be someone in my very like have a similar career and like hobbies or whatever, and like my girlfriend presently like is also a comedian and she's an actress and like whatever, that I would have a podcast. Now that I think about it, but she did tell me that I'd have a podcast.
Wow. We're told.
And that I'd have a major surgery that I wanted.
Oh
wow,
that is
that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, which was
that's very
course,
cool.
Like, which was just really crazy.
Wow.
But I just wanted to share that because I was like, oh, like I didn't get to visualize myself like with top surgery or anything, but she did. I guess she got it that I'd have like this big surgery that I like elective. I guess.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took his
controversial
way.
Elective.
Oh, so sorry. I guess what I mean is that like
no, but that you would,
as opposed
choice
to like
would be involved.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
As opposed to like my spleen bursting or something and needing like emergency surgery is what I mean.
Totally. Okay. I got us off track. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Next headline. Convicted murderer Scott Peterson breaks silence after more than 20 years. Could he be innocent?
I need context for this one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
No,
okay. Me neither. Okay.
So if I'm remembering correctly, and if I can pull it up, and maybe we can get a producer check, I'm gonna just do this because there's two big Peterson.
Should I Google it?
I'm gonna pull it up here.
Are we breaking the rules of the headline game?
So there's no rules. So Lacey Peterson, also like Netflix just put out like a new documentary for it. Lacey Peterson was pregnant when she went missing, and then they never found her body, but they found, I'm so sorry, this is graphic. They found like the fetus. Well, so that's how they knew, like, of course something has happened, because they were just like, she's missing. Got it. The body. But like on the household computer, they found like how to get rid of, you know, like blood, whatever. The entire floor of the home had a coat of bleach on it. Okay. And like he had gone out on his fishing boat and all of these things. And also he was having an affair, and he told his girlfriend that he was having an affair with, that his wife was dead already. And so when Lacey's photo was getting put up on the news, the girlfriend was like, hey, I think I have a tip. I've been dating her husband, like whatever. But then they found out there was a burglary across the street around the time that she went missing. So people were like, well, maybe if he didn't do it, then it was she was walking the dogs and witnessed a burglary, and they took her, or something like that. Anyway, but the husband and a lot of people, and he fled. He dyed his hair blonde, and then he went and met his brother and his dad on the golf course and went golfing, and like tried to drive away, whatever. Anyway,
yes, why do all these like murderers go on their home computer and Google like how to get rid of a dead body? They're like, how to murder my wife without finding it, you know? Yeah,
I don't know. It's really horrendous, but this was like one of the biggest ones where like people were really iffy on
if he did it or not.
And I think if I can be so bold to have an opinion on it, I think that he did.
I'm gonna go bad boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So is the idea of the headline? He's 20.
Is he innocent?
Is he innocent?
Is he innocent? Okay.
I mean, you minimum you were cheating on your wife.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is bad boy.
Yeah.
Maximum you murdered her. which feels.
I initially felt controversial because I feel like the prison industrial complex, I'm against it.
Totally.
But at the same time, I think just like giving airtime to the possibility of like this random fucker like being innocent when like it's just not about you, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but there are other things that are more important to talk about right now.
Totally.
Sorry, I don't know.
I agree.
Like, I'm like, okay, if you are like, you're free now, so like,
just go
enjoy
and
shut up.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Apparently, he had his in and out order ready.
Oh, I don't know. I'm getting douchey vibes.
Me too.
He's an absolute douche. And of
like,
course,
prison is terrible, and I'm sorry you were in prison. But also, you don't seem great.
Yeah, no.
Either.
And it was like also one of those things where like this one got such media attention at the time. Like I remember like Barbara Walters like went to the house to do like a whole thing, and it got so much media attention because they're like an attractive, an attractive couple. So of course people like cared to pay attention to it.
Totally.
Anyway.
It's just very, I don't know. It's just very clickbaity.
Totally.
Too,
yeah.
It's like
some of these are going to be.
I mean, every single one of these are clickbaity.
Okay, let's go to the next one. I didn't like that one.
Okay, we're going to the next one. Okay. Former Congressman. Next headline. Former Congressman George Santos expected to plead guilty to fraud.
I'm going to say good boy.
Yeah, me too.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're going to say, okay, go. Why?
Because good for you, George Santos, for being honest for once in your life.
Yeah, that's precisely why I'm saying good boys too. Also, he's so fucking funny. It would have been so much cooler if he did all of the lying and bad things and like was on the right side of things. Like, you know what I mean?
I know.
Like, it would be so cool if we had like a cunty, gay, former drag queen on our side of things.
I know.
But like, when would that happen? But
what fraud did he commit?
What fraud did he not commit?
Everything was fraud.
Yeah.
Everything he said was a lie, but is that
that's fraud?
Is that
where he's from, like what, like his family, his bank statements, his
what he did with
jobs.
the money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard he was like, did he have an OnlyFans account, or he did Botox with the money or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
You know,
He's so funny to me.
he is funny.
He's a bad boy, but that was good boy behavior.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay,
I think you two will like this.
great. Ready?
Next headline. Brian Cox says cinema is in a very bad way. Cites Marvel, Deadpool. This is a long one.
Okay.
Brian Cox says cinema is in a very bad way. Cites Marvel, Deadpool and Wolverine, quote unquote, it's become party time.
For context, who is Brian Cox?
The
Brian
guy
Cox-
from Succession.
Yeah, the dad, Logan from
Oh, okay.
Succession.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're
No,
I'm
you're
really
great.
not good with names.
No, you totally fine. It's become party time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
Bad boy.
Oh.
do you think?
I don't know. I don't know Wolverine. I don't know really what I'm talking about. But I just am like complaining about party time. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's true. That's
that's a bit.
I feel like cinema is dying. So I feel like good boy. I feel like it's
Okay, good boy. Critique is helpful. I don't know anything about this movie that he's talking about.
Okay,
I can tell you.
So firstly,
Okay,
so
sorry. I
Deadpool-
thought it was like because it's
you know
gay.
Deadpool. No, is it gay?
I think
Okay.
it's homoerotic in the way that Ryan Reynolds is very...
I thought
It's
they're
very
gay.
gay
I
for-
thought Wolverine and Deadpool are gay together.
Oh my god, I hope so.
No,
I
but everyone
don't
thinks
know.
that Hugh Jackman is closeted gay man.
I
That
believe he's come
really
out. I
checks
believe he
out.
came out, did he not? Did he not come out?
No, he's getting divorced from his wife, though.
Oh,
That's coming out.
that's coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Here's the thing. Deadpool and Wolverine just blew all the box office, like, you know,
And each other.
yeah.
I hope.
So all the box office. What is the word I'm looking for?
Like
did better-
benchmarks?
Yes.
Okay.
Like all the other, you know, it did good. It did better than any other movie ever.
Okay.
Ever?
Yeah. No. For real.
Like
On
Oppenheimer?
Earth?
on
More
on
than
Earth,
Oppenheimer and
more
Barbie?
money. Producer check, but more money. I believe it was
What?
1.2 billion on the box office. More money than any other movie.
Wow.
Correct, producer?
Ever?
Grossing R-rated film in history with a 1.08
Okay,
There you go.
R-rated is
R-rated,
an
okay, it's important.
distinction, I think.
But not
Yeah, it's not like ever.
okay, fine. Okay.
hitting to 2019's Joker.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
That's
is the
impressive.
Thing. And it's very impressive. And I think it's a couple of things. It's like Marvel, so it's always going to be big.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds, he's like a movie star,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Cricket in my brain.
He's a massive movie star. Our beautiful Emma's in it. Emma
Oh,
Corrin.
yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Emma's. I don't know if we can say this. We can beep it out. Emma's an investor in the business. You see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sick.
Thanks, Emma. Maybe cut that. Emma's in just cut the whole thing. But Emma Corrin's in it. Apparently, they're amazing. And I was shocked. Anyway, the point is, I read this and was so
My eyes.
shocked because I was like, how. Bobby's causing trouble. How is that the case? In my mind, I'm like, nobody's going to the movies anymore. This is
Okay.
like a crazy time where everything's streaming, movie sales are dying, like the cinema just isn't a thing. And so I was sort of half happy to see that this, even though it's a bit cheesy and it's a blockbuster, whatever, that like it beat all these records, you know, and everyone's going.
Yeah. Here's the thing. People will always show out for a Marvel movie in theaters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm a Marvel dude, and I say that I risk a lot saying that because
Brave.
because it's
Brave.
it's cringy, and it's also
never
like
get laid again.
you get well, you know, if that's the price. No. Here's the thing. Marvel guys specifically get like, it's not cool to like Marvel, one, because it's like a multi-billion-dollar like thing and you shouldn't stand there, whatever. I enjoy the films. I like superhero stuff. I think it's really fun. I think it's really entertaining.
Very masculine of you.
Thank you very much.
Good
I
boy.
love X-Men. X-Men was...
I do love it.
Yeah,
the
same.
origins of X-Men is to
trans.
represent the gay and trans communities and
Exactly.
marginalized communities, and it's very gay, and it's led by a gay man. Two gay men. They're both gay, right? Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are both gay.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they are actually.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Totally.
Anyway, I think that people will always show out to Marvel movies,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The first movie I saw after the pandemic, like when I thought it was somewhat safe to go to, and we can argue maybe it's still not, but was Black Widow. because I was like, I gotta see this in theaters. It's something that because of the experience, like, you have to see it in theaters the same way you needed to see Oppenheimer in theaters or whatever. But
just a question, just to back up, and what did you think of Black Widow?
You know, I thought it was fun. like the casting was awesome. You get Florence Pugh, Scarlett Johansson, and DK Harbour, which I think is really exciting. And Rachel Weisz is in it as well.
Totally. I know.
Yeah, like, what are you gonna do?
I really loved that movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
I really loved it.
Yeah.
But maybe just because I'm obsessed with all those women. I don't know.
Yeah,
could be.
Anyway, so I do think I'm never surprised when it does really well. Plus, like, the average American, I think, loves Ryan Reynolds. I think the average cis woman and cis man, like, equally love Ryan Reynolds. And same with Hugh Jackman. And so when you have a
bipartisan
crossover
issue.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you have this, like, crossover, I think it's going to be huge. Plus, they're, like, cross-promoting it with, like, Blake Lively's new movie and, like...
Which is really wild, actually. I know. Basically...
well, it's a whole fucking thing.
There's a whole, like, thing going on about it right now.
Well, I know there's, like, drama about that, but how would that connect to the Deadpool movie?
Well, because she keeps, like, bringing him along for press interviews and, like, mentioning it and being like, wear your florals to see my domestic violence movie, and then go next door and watch the X-Men movie.
He wrote one of the scenes in the movie too.
Yeah, and after they got the first director's cut of It Ends With Us, she commissioned the editor of Wolverine and Deadpool to do a cut of It Ends With Us, and it pissed everyone off.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow.
Blake.
So looping back to the headline where this film is considered an emblem of the end of cinema.
Yes.
It's party time.
Yes. Sorry. So you're right. So now I actually understand.
It's really confusing.
Well.
I'm assuming. I would like. Okay. I think that I'm gonna say bad boy to Brian Cox, because I think it's a good thing if we can lure everybody to the movies with a cheesy, marvelly blockbuster film. Maybe we can lure them to the movies for amazing indies that we want people to watch.
I think we need to have a non-binary boy.
You can do this. You can do this.
You can. That's yeah.
What would we say if it's not good or bad? Medium.
Medium
boy.
Neutral.
Medium boy.
Neutral.
Mid.
Yeah.
I'm feeling neutral. I'm feeling like let people eat garbage if they want to eat garbage.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's garbage. I haven't seen it, but like different people like different stuff.
Yeah.
I never saw it. I probably never will, but I would be happy to also.
Yeah.
With that.
And I think critique is good for culture and cinema, and like, yes to the critique, and also like whatever.
Yeah. Also, like, Brian Cox is like, with all due respect, like an old dude who's been in the game for a while, so it's probably not for him. And I think that specifically, like, its party time comment is probably in reference to, like, you can tell it's like two buddies who made a movie together, and like, so it's all their humor. Like, all of Deadpool is like Ryan Reynolds,
bestie bro humor.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm gonna get my friend to, and like Blake Lively had a cameo in it, and so it's kind of like, who of my buddies and friends can I get in on this project that I'm doing?
Totally.
But yeah.
Which wouldn't we want to do the same?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Next headline. Bank of America tells junior execs to blow the whistle on managers who overwork them.
Oh.
Good boy?
Yeah, like, instinctually I would say good boy, but is it just like a memo to have on record that Bank of America looks out for their employees, but they don't actually follow through on it?
I don't know. I feel like I have a controversial view on this, which is, I don't know. Do we think people work hard? I just feel like
it's about working overtime.
I think it's like, it just says overwork them. And of course I haven't read the article, but I think there's this weird culture right now where everyone in corporate thinks no one works. Well, everyone thinks Gen Z.
You got to pull a Kim Kardashian right now.
What do you mean?
Nobody wants to get off their ass.
Oh my God, no. But what a quote. No, there's this idea right now, and I don't know where the truth lies, where everybody that owns a company, and especially a big company, feels like Gen Z don't work hard at all, and Gen Z feel like they're just getting fucked by everybody, and they can't get a good job that pays well, and they can't get health insurance and all this stuff, and both things can't be true. So I don't, when I see headline,
I think they both might be true.
Yeah, hold on, I disagree with that.
I think they're both true.
In what way?
I think both are true. I think that there, and we've talked about this previously on the podcast, I think there are plenty of people in every generation, not just Gen Z and not just millennials, that have shit work ethic and can't keep a job, or they can keep a job but they don't excel in it. And then I also think there's many corrupt business owners and bosses and managers and executives. Like, I think this is like, I think like it's generalizing. Like, I think that there, like, there's a few bad apples who like absolutely take advantage of like having a cushy job and they don't do whatever. And then I think both are true.
Yeah.
But I want to know why you think they can't exist.
No, I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right. I guess when I read this headline, I'm like, is that because all your workers are getting overworked and you're worried about that? Which feels wrong.
I have a controversial side opinion about this, which is, have either of you seen Problemista?
Yes.
No.
So in Problemista, there's a very iconic Bank of America scene. And
okay, tell me about it. I've not seen.
And that's River Ramirez. Yeah,
River Ramirez, who's amazing. We love.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, I was like, how did they get away with doing that scene where they're kind of throwing Bank of America under the bus in like a very hilarious, iconic way. I don't want to give it away. I want you to just see it. I don't want to give it away. People should just see it. But I was always like, I wonder if like how this is affecting their PR. Like, you know how like apparently when Big died on a Peloton, like their sales went down or something. So I was like, oh, like, is this going to be bad for Bank of America? Not that I care about the journey of Bank of America as a corporation, but part of me, that's the first thing that came to mind when I heard this was like, oh, like they have to do good PR now. They have to like make themselves seem more ethical because like because they became the bank that was used to like kind of mock how so many banks and corporations are like so
predatory.
Predatory.
That could be.
So that was my association.
Yeah.
And I think even if people are doing good behavior just for show, I still am glad they're doing it. So I would say Good Boys.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. It also reminded me of like when I was in, not to bring up Barbie again, weird, but when I was in Barbie, I'm like, I can't believe Mattel's letting them do this.
I do think
obviously it ended up making them a ton of money, so I guess they figured it would pay off.
Balance.
I do think that the traditional thing of like any PR is good PR, I think is true for those big companies, you know.
Yeah.
But
and maybe it gave the illusion, and maybe this did happen, that Bank of America gave Julio Torres the okay to include that. I don't know.
I mean, I imagine there was a legal team who figured out one or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also reminds me, movie and TV villains can't have iPhones. If you ever notice that,
or they can't.
The bad guy will always have like
Apple
an Android.
Yeah, that's the same for.
Oh my god, that just really. Wow.
But that's the same for like the a lot of the like for American Psycho.
Yeah.
They had I believe, and this is all going to be wrong, so we'll do a corrections corner next week, but I believe for Christian Bale originally was wearing a Rolex watch, and Rolex was like no, and then they tried to change it to Omega and all these and brands, and everyone was like no, this guy can't wear any of it, and he was struggling, and he needed to be a very like wealthy looking dude, and they were struggling to just dress him in anything because everyone was like, no,
please don't
associate us with.
That's so funny.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
Guess didn't apply in that situation.
Good, not
bad press.
Exactly. You're right. I'm up. Thank you. I'm incorrect. Thanks, Bobs. I love that. Yeah, you're right.
But I do think, just to close I do think there are a lot of Americans that are severely overworked right now, overworked and underpaid. I do think that is a problem that exists in this country, and I think it's always existed.
I agree, but I don't think it agrees in corporate.
I think it is like especially true in corporate.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased because I used to work in corporate, and I love all of you, and I love all my friends that were from corporate, but ultimately, you know, you guys don't work that hard, I don't think, and compared to, and I work way harder now than I ever did then, you know.
I think that a lot of corporate jobs, what do they call them? Like email jobs, like a lot of them are like BS, like whatever.
Like desk jobs, yeah.
But I think that's like when you get to a certain level, like are the people you're referring to, are they like on the higher upside, or are they like, if you're bottom of the chain, I think you're working late nights. I think you're working weekends.
Yeah,
you're taking shit and like what, and I think that's probably what this refers to, if I had to guess.
Totally. And then you get less you take less shit as you go up the ranks.
I think for a corporation that big, there's probably a lot of terrible jobs where like
totally,
being exploited is part of how that job is designed.
Yeah.
Great.
Do y'all watch Industry?
No,
I highly
hear
rec.
it's really good.
It's really good. It like filled the hole in my life when Succession ended. I am a big fan of Succession.
Yeah, me too.
And they're similar in that it's like, I mean, it's its own show, but it's based in London, the stock exchange, and it's like these recent grads, this like new class of stock exchange floor people, like what are they called, brokers or whatever, and like how competitive it is, and oh my god, they are overworked and abused and sexually harassed and forced to do cocaine and whatever. It's a fantastic show. I'm trying to think of who I should say, like in this new, it's season 4, just premiered. Jon Snow is in it as like a guest character, but
this poor guy, he's gonna be Jon Snow till he's dead.
Sorry, I do know his name, Kit Harington. But it's really good, and you will be like, holy shit, people are abused so badly.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm also gonna get a bunch of DMs from my friends telling me to fuck myself probably after that.
Cool.
Yeah, good. Tea time.
We have a portion of the show where we do a tea check-in because we're on different, I always say this word wrong, different regimens. I always want to say regime.
Oh,
when I say that.
Yeah.
I would make that same mistake.
Yeah? Okay. We're on different testosterone, like HRT regimens. So we do little check-ins.
Fab.
Yeah. And general journey check-ins.
Yeah.
If one isn't on testosterone.
Totally. Yeah.
Do you want to start?
I can start. So I had my 20th shot of testosterone, thank you, on this past Friday. My butt cheeks are so hairy, which I knew was going to happen because my brother has always been that way.
Sexy.
So like I have so much more leg hair, even though I was starting with a decent amount to begin with, but my butt cheeks are really hairy to the point where Britt pointed it out this week. She was like, your
in a loving way,
so hairy. Well, so she said that, and I immediately, because she's mostly dated men, I was like, okay, but like your boyfriends have had that, and she's like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, okay, so like I don't feel like a freak or any, like it's not like it happens. My voice is getting deeper. Everybody that I talked to on Friday was like, your voice is so deep, and I just like I go, it's shot day, because to me, I think it deepens immediately after, but I think I'm making that up. No, I don't think so. Okay. But like, what else am I gonna? I'm gonna be like, yeah, like we're getting there. Like, I don't know. It just makes sense to be like, oh, you're clocking it. It's because I just juiced. I don't know. What else? I think that's like the only updates so far. More facial hair.
Great.
Keeps happening.
Love that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm growing hair on like the top of my nose.
Oh,
and I don't think it should be happening. Like over on like the crease of my
So
mouth.
we're doing like a mustache just here.
Yeah,
like a little bit above.
Yeah.
Does your brother have that?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
He's got a beautiful beard. You saw it.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
But
actually,
no hair on the top of his head. It's just so fun to me. Hair everywhere but his head.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you can be on tea and a tea blocker for that if you are concerned.
Is that right? And you can go on minoxidil, which is supposed to. Well, maybe that's more for facial hair, but
yeah, I don't know about that one as much. Yeah. But there's like a specific blocker that like is just for hair loss stuff.
Interesting.
I know some people have gone on.
Yeah,
that's good to know because it's one of my fears, losing my head hair. I worry about it. I don't think I could carry it.
I think you would. Well, because I've seen you with a buzz cut.
Yeah.
You got a good head shape.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
that helps.
My eyelashes are a little longer and curlier.
Cute.
I've always had pretty great eyelashes, but now I like.
They don't
really,
tell you that.
Yeah, but now I like.
Cal and Lord.
Now I really feel it. Like if I look up, I like really feel them as if I just did an eyelash curler.
Like they're like touching. Here.
Yeah, like they touch the top of my lid.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I upped my testosterone dose. I'm only using gel, which and I upped it. For context, I'm having to do this very slowly because I'm getting my eggs removed.
Oh my gosh! I'm surprised you can be doing both at the same time.
You can, but as long as you're doing like a slow, triggering. But they told me that they're upping it to like top, like the higher band of a woman.
Yeah,
air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
So
an athlete.
So I'm trying to find sperm to do the embryo thing, so I can take out my eggs, so that I can take testosterone at a high dose. Exactly. But I did up it for now slightly, and every time I up it even a little bit, the only thing that happens to me is my sex drive just peaks on that day. I'm like obsessively on sniffies.com like some sort of
so I've put you on this,
sniffies.
I do, but I've never been on it, but I know of it.
Yeah.
I
introduced it to Kylo.
The thing is, I'm like pretty straight as a I'm pansexual.
Comes out as straight.
Can we get a producer check on this?
It's confusing. My sexuality is confusing me right now, and I don't actually. I think it could be the testosterone. I don't even know.
Yeah, because I'm because I'm also bi curious now, and it's 100% the testosterone.
And Definitely. I don't know if it's just because I'm so horny.
Testosterone makes you gay. Gay again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what I keep hearing. Anyway, so I just like troll sniffies like some sort of weird lurker, and don't ever act on it.
Yeah, they're going to kick you off.
I know. God, I'm sad about it. They're going to kick me off. But the only thing is, there's no intermediary phase on sniffies. There's no like, you know, if it's like 0 to 100, there's no 20% or 50% like dipping your toe in. There's none of that. It's like very directly to 100%. And I'm just not.
You're not there yet.
I'm not there.
Then I think you should just go on Tinder and set yourself to dudes, and like that's your 20%.
Yeah, you're so right. Sniffies are so
and
exciting.
There won't be dick.
Yeah. Fair.
So
that's the only thing that's happened, that I up my testosterone. I'm extremely horny, and I don't know what to do with all that energy.
Love it.
You know. How about you? What's your?
I am off testosterone right now, but I've been on and off since 2018, so like 4 years. And yeah, I have a thing sometimes around. What?
I think 6 years.
Oh. Math.
Not to correct
6 years.
Not to correct you, but
That's
I don't want you to
true.
undercut your journey. That's a whole.
Maybe it's like 5.5 years.
Okay.
Because I feel like I was like 6 months into dating my partner when.
Okay.
I started, but yeah, it's been really cool. I'm off right now, particularly because I don't feel ready to commit to facial hair in like a big way, and that is truly like the only reason. And I even just recently was like, should I get back on gel and just like go to microdosing and like keep it chill, because I really love being on testosterone, but it feels good for me sometimes to take breaks to kind of like assess where I'm at and like see how things are landing, and kind of, I don't know. I mean, the first time I like went off of tea, I did like just a hard stop, and it was like really bad to just go cold turkey. It was like emotional crash hell.
Damn, I didn't know that happened.
Well, if you just go cold turkey, you want to wean yourself off, because it's just a hormonal crash, and then like the estrogen just comes in and you're like yeah, it's weird. But I have a thing around gender affirming surgeries where I've wanted to take breaks from tea around surgery to kind of like feel like it's one thing at a time, that I'm like assessing how I'm feeling about it. And like 6 months ago, I had like a very small, like I had like a top surgery revision, kind of like gender affirming thingy. And so I took a break around that. And then I'm like still on the break, considering getting back on.
Yeah.
But I'm very pro HRT.
Yeah. I love your like very, I feel like I don't hear a lot from people, the like changes of like pulling back and assessing of HRT and other areas of transition, you know. I really resonate with that.
I just feel like it's a lot that's going on, you know, and I really like, I am a meditator. Like I really like to be like in touch with my body and like connected to what's happening. And like when I first went on tea, I was on like a pretty like chill lower end dose on gel, but the changes, I really felt them, and they were I felt they were still really intense, and I was like, I can't imagine going straight to injections right off the bat, although I had done injections here and there with friends just to like feel what that felt like, and that was really meaningful as well. But yeah, it's just like it's a lot to process, and I think also sometimes just like depending on what's going on in my life, or just like your relationship to myself, to others, I feel very much like it feels good to be flexible and like not relate to it in a linear way because that feels more authentic for me. And like I feel like through some trial and error I've like learned about how to like do that without like getting myself too like emotionally like what's going on.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool for people to know that that's a possibility, because even though it seems like pretty like no brainer, like people think it's either like one or the, like you're either not on HRT or you're on HRT for the rest of your life, and there's so many reasons why people stop. And when I started at the very beginning of April, and I told myself, I was like, I also waited to do T until I had top surgery, because I was like, what if that cures? Like, what if the top what if top surgery is like takes care of the dysphoria? And like it took care of a lot of it, but not all of it. And so I ultimately decided a couple months later I would go on T, and I told myself, and I told my mom, I was like, if I reach what I wanted, like because the voice doesn't go back, so like for instance, like if I know a deeper voice was kind of what I wanted, and just like more, I don't know, like the body fat redistribution I really wanted and stuff. And I told myself, if I feel happy with where I'm at, or on the opposite side, if I'm unhappy with how someone's going, I'll just stop. And like I think that like when I explained that to my friends and stuff, like a lot of people didn't realize that you could just do that, and that some things will just remain the same, some things will revert back, but most of it kind of just stays where you end anyway. So I think it's cool for people, especially like gender fluid, gender non-conforming people who maybe don't feel very binary in their transness, that they know that that's an option. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I also I'm not into like the alt-right co-opting of people who like have multiple stops in their gender journey, like being like I think there's a real obsession with like the narrative of detransition, which for me I think is retransition. It's like that's not a thing. Like, you know, and I've known people who've had really like multi-layered journeys in their gender in a way where I just am like, you can't go backwards really life just doesn't go backwards, but you know, and I just think like, I don't know, I'm just very into like kind of like softening the cis trans binary as well, where I just am like, people are doing gender affirming things for themselves all the time, and that goes in a lot of different directions, and like, you know, has a lot of different cultural like meanings as well. So it's just like, why be like it's just this or this? I don't know.
No, I completely agree. No, I realized, I don't know if this has anything to do with my testosterone. Maybe one of you will know, but I feel like my bottom dysphoria is getting slowly worse, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense to me because there's like added sensitivity maybe. So there's like heightened awareness of that body part.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe.
Like before I felt like it wasn't that bad. But yeah, now I feel like maybe that is, I'm just more aware of it. And you know, this thing that you described of like everything feels more like when you orgasm, everything's just more hyper-located.
I've described in previous tea times that like just like the way that I experience orgasm has changed, where like the first time I had lesbian sex as a cis woman, it's like, oh my God, this is like my whole body, I'm lifting off the ground. And like now when I orgasm, it's like, that's coming from my dick. Like it feels very much centralized. Totally. I'm like, that is my dick. Cool. So yes, sorry, keep going. But I've just to give Bobbi the context.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I
You're
wonder
feeling that?
I wonder where it's. Well, I've always, remember we spoke about it. I've
right.
always.
You have bottom dysmorphia. You have body dysmorphia.
I have
bottom dysphoria. I do not, surprisingly.
Right. And I've always, the way that you were describing your orgasm now is just how I've always orgasmed. This idea that like you're having like full body orgasms out here. I'm like, what?
You're like, wait.
I was like everything was like
I'm like, what? No, everything is like in my junk. And also like the graph of my orgasm, I think has always been quite stereotypically male. It's sort of like, I'm like not horny, and then I'm very horny, and then I'm just like,
and then you come and you fall asleep.
It goes like up, and then it peaks, and then it goes immediately down, and then I'm like, don't touch me.
Like I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if that is something that I've like created. I thought about it the other day. I wonder if I've created this idea of like coming like a dude because it makes me feel affirmed. But I know anyway, somehow I'm not horny at all after I've orgasmed, where I was talking to my partner about it, and I was like, do you actually still feel like horny? I'm getting laughed at here, by the way. Do you actually still feel excited and horny post. So I was like, do you actually though? Like, and in relation to the graph, like, where is it? Does it go like halfway down? Does it go like, you know what I mean? Where is it at? And she's like, yeah, she's like not 100%, but I still feel excited, and I just don't feel that. Anyway, we're off track, but I'm just letting you guys know. Yeah.
I think I stay horny these days. I'm just it's just horny.
But post orgasm, you're just back to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I usually will, I usually will like loop it back to like, I never come first. That'll just like, it's just not something.
Because you're a good boy.
Because I'm a good boy. No, just because it's just never happened. It's just not, I need to get that taken care of for me to even feel like I want to have sex, if that makes sense.
Service oriented.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. And so like, but then so I start, how do I say this without being so incredibly graphic? I would like to make my sexual partner come, and then it's okay, I can come. But even then, I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm kind of good.
Right, yeah.
And then like she'll get me, and then like maybe that's at 7 p.m. But then like before we go to bed for the night, I'm like, I gotta yank one more out because I'm still thinking about it from earlier. If that makes sense. It's kind of this like delayed gratification. I don't even know what it is, but I'm like, I'm still thinking about how hot it was when you came earlier, and I need to, in order to fall asleep, I need to get this taken care of. Kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I think I would say like it stays. I guess.
Stays. Yeah. Damn. I mean, I'm just a different case. I think the thing testosterone has done. I've always, and not to sound like an asshole, but I've always been able to come super easily. Like, you look at me and I come, like I can come super easy. But it's made it even worse. So now when I'm having sex, I have to think.
You're like, don't come.
I have to think about like,
hold off.
I have to think about like gross stuff to like make myself. I have to like disconnect a little bit so that I don't just like.
Can you jerk off before sex?
No, because did you not hear my graph?
I'm sorry.
What about edging? What about edging?
Yeah, I mean, my whole life is an edge. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to, you know.
Yeah.
But you have tips for my
edge. I just thought edging, it could be, it could sustain the experience.
Yeah, I think I need to practice is what I need to do. Yeah.
Well, with the help of
a friend.
A strict partner.
Yeah, damn. Oh, gosh.
Honestly, I'm kind of like, being off tea right now, it makes my horniness a little more manageable. I remember when I first got on tea and my partner was also newly on tea, it was like, I remember we went on a trip to go see some friends and we like almost never saw our friends because we like would go to the party and be like, we need to leave and go have sex right now. Like it was just relentless. I was like, when we were newly dating, it would be like, I would get to their house and we'd be having sex before the front door closed. And they'd be like, oh, we never closed the front door to the apartment.
Wow.
And that happened multiple times.
Wow.
Like,
I love that.
So inappropriate.
Yeah.
So inappropriate.
Wow.
Like, so
yeah.
I still feel horny most of the time, but it's a little more manageable right now.
Yeah.
But also I feel like early, like first getting on tea versus like being on tea later, it's a little more chill later. For me it was, at least.
Are you finding that?
Well, I've always been horny, like truly my entire life. So I don't think it's necessarily just the tea. I think the tea, I've explained this, it just makes me more, like now I'm watching porn. Like that's what the tea has changed. Like I've always been horny, but like now I want to like watch people. I've always been into watching, but like now I'm like, I gotta, like it feels like that's the solution, is like it's pent up a little bit. I gotta watch porn. And then as soon as I'm done, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, get this the fuck away from me.
That's the standard porn.
Yeah, which
situation,
I know that. I know that's not unique to me, but that's what it is.
I feel like also with tea and horniness, there's something for me where like what testosterone does for my mental health is so good in that like I have my anxiety level goes down a lot when I'm on testosterone. And I really noticed it at the beginning, like, and also just like things that annoyed me just didn't annoy me anymore. Like so many things like that. And so I think having less anxiety also makes me more available for fun sex too. So it's like, even if I'm technically not like horny or whatever, like just being less anxious or being more relaxed, like is supportive of.
That's so true.
That's so true. I haven't been able to communicate that, but you're absolutely right.
And a lot of, not all of it, or maybe not even a lot of it, but you can argue a decent amount of dysphoria or like your gender feelings are gone, and that's also going to make you more open to sexual, as you like to say, sexual intimacy.
I like to say sexual intimacy.
British.
English.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Sexually intimate.
Wow.
Aww.
Yeah. Great, so that's tea time. Unless
Great.
anyone has anything else about tea. We went off track
No.
and just talked about the orgasm graph. But
I think it's important. I
do. Yeah.
think it's an important topic.
Is that everything?
I think that's everything.
Great.
Yeah. I want.
Say?
We'll do it. We'll do those for duos.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Bobbi, anything you want to plug? What are you working on right now?
Well, a couple films that I worked on have been coming out, which has been really fun. So, even though this came out technically last year, I'm still going to plug it, My Animal, because it's a sapphic werewolf movie that I really love that I worked on. That came out during the strike. So it's fun to talk about it when I can, because I couldn't then. And then this Australian film called Lunacy came out earlier this year. And then also this film Summer Solstice just went to streaming on Friday, which is really fun. And they're starting to like submit to award shows or something, which is exciting. And that was a really cool project because that was like the most trans queer film I've ever worked on. We shot, I think 2 summers ago, like upstate and in Brooklyn. Noah Seamus, the director writer, is like an angel, and that was really fun. And then there's also a Polish German film that's in theaters in Germany but is looking to get American distribution that I'm excited about.
Should I go see it while I'm in Germany?
Wait, you should. I think it's still in theaters.
Okay, I'll check it out and
That's
see
so
if it's
exciting.
playing
It's
on
called
the army
Lipstick
base.
on the Glass, but it's going to be dubbed in German there.
Okay, cool.
But
That's cool.
it's
I'll check it out.
freaky movie.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, maybe there's something else I'm supposed to plug, but I don't know what it is.
Do you want
right
people
now.
to find you on social?
Yeah, find me on social media at hi_it's_Bobbi with an I.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll tag all of your, well, at least the stuff that we can stream. We'll tag
cool.
it.
Yeah, great.
I'll put it in the notes. Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we have to say good boy.
Good boy, Bobbi.
Thank you.